Revelation Unraveled, Part 23, The Great Tribulation Continued. After this, I saw a great multitude, which no man could number, of all nations and tribes and peoples and tongues, standing before the throne and in the sight of the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands. And they cried with a loud voice, saying, Salvation to our God, who sits upon the throne, and to the Lamb. And all the angels stood round about the throne, and about the ancients, and about the 4 living creatures. And they fell before the throne upon their faces, and adored God, saying, Amen, benediction, and glory, and wisdom, and thanksgiving, honor, and power, and strength to our God forever and ever. Amen. In chapter 7, verse 16, St. John mentions a trinity of tribulations which those in heaven no longer need to endure: hunger, thirst, and heat. The hunger refers back to the black horse, famine, which will come about not only from the destruction of much of the world's farmlands due to World War III, but also from the rationing instituted by the one world economic apparatus, which will not allow any buying or selling without the mark of the beast. And one of the ancients answered and said to me, Who are these that are clothed in white robes, and whence are they come? And I said to him, My Lord, you know. And he said to me, These are they who are come out of great tribulation, and have washed their robes, and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. Therefore they are before the throne of God, and serve him day and night in his temple. And he that sits on the throne shall dwell over them. They shall not hunger nor thirst any more, neither shall the sun fall on them, nor any heat. For the Lamb which is in the midst of the throne shall rule them, and shall lead them to the fountains of the waters of life, and God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes. The thirst refers to the polluted waters which cover the planet, again from World War III, and will be experienced as water turned to blood. During the tribulation period, the 2 witnesses will also have the startling ability to turn water to blood. Finally, the heat and the falling sun refers to nuclear warfare and conventional weaponry. The dead who no longer suffer these plagues will be envied by the living. This trinity of plagues constitutes a land, sea, and air type of trinity, and thus a complete totality of destruction. The bloodshed during the fierce reign of the godless New World disorder will be enormous. St. John says the martyrs will be a great multitude, which no man can number. To those who seek to avoid these trials, Jesus will say, No servant is greater than his master. Christians, be warned. If you take the mark of the beast, it's true, you will avoid famine and martyrdom, but you will eventually be thrust into the lake of fire. This is the culmination of the Christian era, and everyone must decide, will I accept the sign of the cross, join the sheep, and die for the Lord, or will I take the mark, join the goats who terrorize the sheep, and end up in hell? This era in history is rightfully called the Great Tribulation. And St. John uses that very term in chapter 7, verse 14. B3, Wormwood. And the 3rd angel sounded the trumpet, and a great star fell from heaven, burning as it were a torch, and it fell on the 3rd part of the rivers, and upon the fountains of waters. If the symbols St. John employs during the Great Apostasy describe spiritual trials, and those during World War III physical trials, then the symbols he uses during the Great Tribulation, B1 through B9, can be either or both. The pain and suffering of famine and martyrdom is real, but then again, so is the great sorrow of losing one's soul. The star which burns like a torch is meant to give light rather than heat, and is the second great star to fall during the apocalypse, the first being Martin Luther during the apostasy. Here the illumination from wormwood is obscure because it represents an end times antipope, the false prophet who uses his authority over Catholics, 1/3 of the waters, to seduce them into supporting the Antichrist. They die a spiritual, not physical death from his false doctrine, bitter waters. Eventually, they die a violent physical death also, and are thrust into hell along with the Antichrist, the false prophet, wormwood, and the rest of their followers. And the name of the star is called wormwood, and the third part of the waters became wormwood, and many men died of the waters because they were made bitter. The false prophet is revealed here before the Antichrist because he will imitate the role of St. John the Baptist and announce the coming of the lawless one. There have been many other interpretations as to the identity of wormwood, from Satan to natural pollution to the barbarians who sacked Rome. Father Herman Bernard Kramer, in his Book of Destiny, comes closest by labeling wormwood a high-ranking prelate, but then concludes he represents the Greek schism. Here is where the ROC chart, St. John's cryptogram, is invaluable. If Father Kramer had realized that wormwood comes onto the historical scene after World War III, but before the Antichrist, he would have easily seen that wormwood can only be the false prophet.